once this becomes second nature of you just blink without looking, you're gonna feel so good. Everything's gonna feel amazing. You're gonna feel like an ice, like you're ice skating. But right now you're very like on tank controls, you know? One big, I guess, preamble I want to get out of the way before we dive directly into the VOD is just my coaching philosophy and how I like to teach things, just so that we're both on the same page here. So the first thing is, this is a conversation. This is not a lecture. I want to talk to you. I want to figure out why you do what you do. I want to figure out why you think the way you think. And then I want to work with that, because if I know how you think, then we can, if there's something that's an issue, we can look at that issue. And if there's something that's not an issue, we can point out why this is a good thing.
Cool.
I'm not going to ask you any trick questions. If I ask you something that seems really stupid, just answer genuinely. Even if you're like, oh, this is totally a trap, it's not a trap. I want to know what you are thinking. Some things I'm going to bring up you already do subconsciously, but if we talk about them, then you're going to bring them to conscious thought, and then you can improve on those things and do them correctly 100% of the time instead of just 90% of the time. And we're going to do some thought exercises. Maybe it's an unwinnable fight. Maybe you are going to die no matter what, but theoretically, possibly, maybe let's take, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and let's just talk about how you could have done it, so that in the future, if it is winnable, you can make it winnable. We're going to be talking about skills that are transferable between heroes. So there are going to be a lot of things that are hero specific, and there are going to be a lot of things that are like role specific. So even if I'm talking about your movement on Tracer, you can apply that movement on Tracer to the way you strafe on Soldier, to the way you'll strafe on Kree and Widow. Those are all transferable, even if they're not exactly one-to-one the same. Cool. But like playing legs here, this is kind of interesting just because this is such a long-range map. You often see a lot of snipers on this map. The enemy team runs double sniper this whole time. But like, I think that pretty much any hero can work in any scenario if you learn to play the matchup correctly. But when you continue to play a hero in the same way against every comp, then that's when you run into issues. So you see your tank line. Your limits on your DPS hero are defined by what your tank line is able to do, right? Because there's an order of operations in Overwatch of how tanks need to do their job, and then everyone else can do their job. What can your tank line do for you on this map in terms of holding positions, holding high grounds, pushing, pulling, CC? What can they do for you?
They can do a lot of damage if they hold up close, but they can get caught out easily, I suppose.
Yeah, your tank line kind of sucks here.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to do a lot of damage, and a big thing is they're very, I guess, loud is the way I should put it. Your tank line is incredibly loud.
Like attracts a lot of attention.
Yeah, when I see a 100 energy Zarya, that's the only target I'm focusing, you know?
Yeah.
And if the enemy team has any brain cells, it'll be the same thing. So in this scenario, your tank line is going to be they're not going to be, making space, but they're going to be a really good distraction. So your limits on Soldier are defined by how big of a distraction your tank line is making. Because of the fact that you don't really have a Winston, you don't really have like a real, solidified tank line. You should be doing a lot of flanking stuff. You should be running around the map and being a nuisance. You're a fat Tracer right now. Sometimes you play Soldier like you play McCree. Sometimes you play Soldier like a fat Tracer, and in this scenario, you should be playing it like a fat Tracer. Cool?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You can hear that Ashe shoot in spawn. You know they have an Ashe. Because I want to talk about the way you play into double sniper, which is very dangerous, and it gives me a heart attack.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Okay, you're just poking out scouting. You hear that Widow hook up. So there's one of two scenarios. They're on double sniper, or the Ashe swap to Widow. Either way, you need to be, like, careful of the fact that there are things that will one-shot you from across the map. I'm going to talk about how you take duels against snipers later, or not really later, but it's kind of complicated, and we'll get to a scenario with it. So you scout out a little bit, you look, you see the Ashe, cool. You decide, I don't want to be there right now. cool. That's a fine decision to make. Realistically, in this scenario, with your tank line and what you're against, you need to flank and poke. We're going to watch what you do, and then we're going to talk about that. Okay. So you are here. They're looking this way already because you have your Zarya here and your Roadhog here. This guy's name is Roadhog and he keeps fucking with me. This, because you don't have a Rhine, you don't have a Interest, you don't have any shields. This is very dangerous. You as a DPS here are poking from the exact same angle that your team is fighting from. And that just scares me because when you're trying to kill a sniper, right? You can come in on all, you can, say they shoot a shot somewhere else, you're able to start fighting that sniper because you know they're looking somewhere else, right? Right here you're trying to poke while they're looking in your direction. You don't die here. But I feel like this is a common theme. I feel like you should be dead.
Okay.
The way I think you play this properly is
maybe on the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you play on those stairs. Or maybe you just keep poking on the side that you were already at for a little bit. I know that Roadhog's coming over, but that's a whole other thing. But realistically, you do a good job of staying mobile because their comp isn't particularly quick. But it feels like you also play Tracer in this VOD, so you do a better job of it on Tracer, but on a great job. On a oh yeah, this is a good example. So on a DPS hero, right? You are, especially on something like Soldier, you are an angle. You are your own angle, right? So you have your tank line. You have your tank line like that. Your tank line is an angle right now, right? This is one angle. And then your Zen's shooting from this angle. So this is two angles. But anybody who's shooting at your Zarya can also see you. So you're really sure it's maybe like the same thing as the Zen, but you're really not adding anything to this angle, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to be essentially, as a DPS hero, see your Doom's another angle over here because he's a little sneaky bastard. But you need to be adding another completely separate angle. Because anybody can focus on two things at once, but three things at once, that's a lot of things, man. So if you were to be playing, like, oh yeah, I need to clear that. If you were to be playing like something over here, maybe. So then angle, angle, angle. This is wide, right? So sorry, continue.
So the right side of the map here always, I don't know, always just feels cut off to me. Like I feel like I can get cut off really easily going that way. And if the team doesn't sort of kite as quickly as I'm expecting them to, I just feel I can get cut off playing there. But
that's true. I think that's a calculated risk, though.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a risk you should be taking. Because even if say your team kites all the way back to here, right? Say they push card all this way. Let me just there. Say your team kites all the way back to here, right? And they push card all this way. You can still like be here, right? You can like run around here and run around here and just be a nuisance, right? You don't need to kill anybody. You just need to be an annoying little asshole. You just need to be a little rat. But yeah, right now and we'll talk about it on the Tracer too, but right now, this is the first example of this is two angles. You need to be taking a third angle because you on your hero are able to take a third angle.
Mm-hmm.
Cool?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. You know what I'm going to say right now?
Yeah, I should have just turned and ran.
I just think you should be dead.
Yeah, okay.
You know what you did wrong here. You should have gone under. You should have just sprinted away. This is also an example of the front is going to be loaded with ideas, and then as we get later into the VOD, I'm going to be able to say, hey, I mentioned this earlier. But this is your first example of not really having an escape route in mind. The reason that playing in the middle here, where you were, is not very good is because any place you want to escape to is a distance. But if you kept playing in this doorway, right, your escape distance is 4 pixels. You just run, you're good. But you take the long way. So when you're positioning somewhere, you always need to be thinking about where can I be shot from, and where can I run to if I'm shot? Those should be your 2 questions. You hear the Widow hook up, but also, that's whatever. You hear the Widow hook up, and you're out. Oh, this is where you go on an adventure.
Enemies reviving. Feeling grand.
You go try to poke from high. This is cool. This is a super tiny thing about playing Soldier. But when you are peeking a corner, don't sprint into the angle and then peek. Stop at the wall, and then peek out. So you're ready to shoot or crouch or whatever.
Yeah.
Just because when it's like, you know how like jumping makes you easier to hit?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're predictable. The animation of Soldier going from sprinting to being ready to shoot is like, it's a very small animation, but a good player can hit that shot. Cool, your team dies a little bit. You guys are coming back. That was an unnecessary peek. We'll talk about angle isolation later. Yeah, so you keep poking. You see the Widow there. You don't peek it again. That's good. You're poking at the Ana. I think you should have been poking at the Ana the whole time. But you see the Ana start poking at her. But now we're gonna see something that kind of hurts. Yeah, you should always be like trying to poke at that Ana. Can you explain to me why dropping to cart was a bad idea there?
Because I was never going to stay alive.
There was no way you were going to stay alive, as evidenced by the fact that you are now dead.
Yeah.
And also, if you touch cart, what does that do?
Stalls for like a millisecond.
You stall for like a millisecond, and then you still probably die, because there's a Roadhog, there's 2 snipers, this Ana can probably anti you. It's not your job to touch here. And even if your tank line dies, right? Say everybody else on your team dies, you still have the opportunity to set up on this high ground. You still have the opportunity to be in a position that doesn't kind of let them snowball. But you dying here gives the enemy team, like, now the enemy team can push wherever they want. And that just... Like you as a hero that puts out pressure and puts out damage are as much a deterrence as you are an actual threat, right? Like the threat of a Widow headshot is often just as strong as the Widow headshot, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your ability to pump out damage makes it so that it's harder for them to take any of the places that they want to be taking. And you dying here just lets them walk in. And I totally respect the, oh shit, I gotta go touch cart. But in this scenario, incredibly suboptimal. Yeah, and you're not part of this entire fight. Like, even if your Zarya doesn't touch here, you can still win this fight. But when you just throw your life away like that because you gotta touch cart, there's 0 chance of winning that fight, because then it's a 5v6, and they have res, and they're gonna have close spawns, and.
Yeah. Very careless. I think that's going to be a theme.
Yeah.
The payload.
But that's why you're here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am gonna be, you swap Tracer here, and this is good. Yeah, I agree with the Tracer swap. I think it's fine. I don't think it's perfect. But you can combo with your Doomfist. That guy swaps to Genji. But you can combo with your Genji. And you can try to poke at the enemy Mercy. And remember to peek your... Well, actually, how do you get healed with this comp, right, on Tracer? How do you get healed?
Just with Zen.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, there's like 0 chance that BAP heals you here. So just be cognizant of that, and be ready to peek your Zen and be like, hey, can I have an orb? This is like more of a thing that is in coordinated team play, because ranked is ranked. But a lot of the times, if you say to your Zen, hey, can you put orb on me so I can go try to do something? You can just go do that, because orb will stay with you for a little bit even when you can't see the Zen. So if you say, hey, I want to go take the Tracer 1v1, I know they don't have a Tracer, but if you say, hey, I want to take the Tracer 1v1, can you put orb on me? Your Zen will toss orb on you, and then you can take the Tracer 1v1.
Yeah.
That's just like a thing. I want to talk about the way you position for this fight. Okay.
Immortality feels down. Watch yourself.
Actually, this goes on for a sec. So you guys like start dying and then you get back. This is like the second time you do this, where you just kind of like vibe in your spawn for a while. But
Yeah, is that not the play? Like, I'm just waiting for people to get back. Really, should I be sort of scouting out a little bit? I'm just always afraid of the risk of getting one shot by the Ash or whatever.
yeah. So I mean, you said it before I did. You need to be setting up and you need to be scouting right now.
Okay.
You go out low ground in this next fight. And let's just, because the fight isn't going to start for a sec, but I still just want to use this example so when we watch the fight, you can see it. So this is like your zone, right? This is where the fight happens. You go here. Tracer doesn't have vertical mobility, but you can still go like wherever the hell you want, right? So, but realistically, if you want to cross this, like, this is like a blink and a half. If you want to get over here, this is 2, maybe 3 blinks. If you want to go kill somebody on stairs, this is 3 blinks and you don't even get there. You have just limited yourself. You roll out low ground and you have just chained your foot. You have chained your foot to the bed. You're not getting up. You're not getting out of bed. You're doing nothing today, man. But if you remember, your job isn't necessarily to kill the snipers, but if you roll out this high ground, you can say, oh, okay, I know where he is. I know where their Ash is. And then you just tell your team, hey, Widow top right, Ash main. Bam, that's it. But right now, your team is going into this fight completely blind, because your tanks can't scout. You don't have tanks that can scout, and even so, you should be the one doing it. You don't have supports who can scout. You don't have like a Lucio or something. Right now, your team is blind, and you need to be their eyes.
Yeah, okay, makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, always, and this is just a rule of thumb that is going to be, I'm going to be bringing up again and again going forward, but always try to start high ground, even if you don't stay there, because when you go high ground, you have the option to drop. But when you start low ground, that's it. That's what you're doing. And it's just always better to like have that option for yourself. Yeah, you can scout best of anyone from your team. Find their snipers. Don't try to kill them, but just tell your team where they're at. Oh my god, is it doing that thing again? No, we're good. Because right now, you're wasting time. And you're just wasting blinks. And there is some other stuff that like, oh, like, I think you can be setting up in the enemy team a lot more, but that's like, that is a lot to unpack. So you hear they have walls, cool. You hear they have walls, and you decide, I would like to blink into an open space. This is just, yeah, when you hear they have walls, this is something that I always do on main support, but this is just something you should do for yourself as a hit scan player, because you'll get into Widow duels. When they have walls, look at the time, subtract 15 seconds, that's when walls are over. Super simple, and just say to yourself, okay, walls down at, like, what, 4:35, because they popped a couple seconds ago? Bam, and that's it. And now you know when you can peek again. Yeah, you just waste some cooldowns there when you could be setting up on this high ground. Your Genji is fighting their snipers. I don't know what comms are like in this situation, because it's ranked. But let's pretend that your Genji said he's pushing the Widow. Let's just pretend. And you choose to walk out low ground because I don't have an answer. Why do you choose to walk out low ground?
I think I'm probably just on autopilot mode right now. I guess because I don't. I guess because I know Widow's top, and I don't have the blinks or the recall to really feel like I can fight her. I don't know. I'm just making up reasons. I don't think that's.
But you
what I was
got
thinking.
legs, man. And there's some stairs
Yeah,
right here.
Yeah.
You do a lot of like pumping damage into tanks, which is fine when you're just trying to farm up pulse bomb. But in this scenario, you can be comboing with your Genji to do things. And right now you're just kind of like, I don't know. And you waste a lot of blinks. That's another thing. But yeah, always roll out high ground. Same thing. Always roll out high ground. It gives you more options. Okay, cool. You hear the Widow above you. Yeah, so essentially, you kind of know where their entire team is at this point, right? Except for maybe the Ashe, because I don't think she's shot yet. But you know the Widow and the Mercy are above you, because you hear it. And then you see the Ana, you see the Zarya, and you see the Hog. This is a bad habit of yours. You shoot the Zarya who is being healed, as opposed to the Ana who is healing the Zarya.
Okay.
There's like I mean, you know why you should be shooting the Ana. I don't need to do a whole explanation.
Yeah.
I think you just have poor target priority.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have some poor target priority. But you say, okay, I'm gonna go kill this Ana. Cool, you kill the Ana. I think there's some stuff about your movement I want to talk about, but that's a whole thing.
So when I see the Zarya, though, I think I've only got 1 or 2 blinks, right? So I don't feel like I've got the blinks to get over to the Ana. So tickling the Zarya until I've got those blinks is probably the move, though, right?
I'm gonna say something that's kind of stupid. But if you didn't waste your blinks, you would have had the blinks to go push the Ana.
Yeah, absolutely.
But even so, actually, so like, I understand why you're tickling the Zarya, but if you set up properly, like you set up for high ground or you set up to do that kind of stuff, that won't even be a restriction that you are putting on yourself. That restriction is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to make too many assumptions, but I feel like you would have shot the Zarya anyway, even if you had 3 blinks.
Okay. Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. Damn, there are still snipers killing your team. Cool, you go in. That's actually like a fine recall. Cool recall. What you do next is not fine. You see the Roadhog drop. And then you say, I'm gonna blink into the open in front of the Roadhog to kill this Ashe. So you know how in Overwatch, you know how much health somebody has only when you damage them? Like their health bar will pop up when you do the damage?
Yeah.
The first bullet that you shoot on Tracer is always accurate 100% of the time. It will headshot someone across the map. And then your spread starts. So there's no reason not to just, like, shoot for a 1/10 of a second, check health, and then be like, okay, what am I going to do now? Because this is like a weird overcommittal, and you don't have recall. You have 2 blinks, and I think you're okay here if I remember correctly. But this is just unnecessary danger that you're putting yourself in. But yeah, that'll come up again where you can check health with just spraying people. But this is just an unnecessary danger you put yourself in. This feels very tunnel vision-y of see Ashe, shoot Ashe. Yeah. As much as people goon on hitscan for being a role for idiots, oh, I'm just Widow, I just click heads. This hitscan is a very complicated role, and you need to be able to see the big picture. And right now it just feels like you see a thing and you do a thing, right?
Yeah,
but we can definitely get that to a point where you see something and you think about the 5 other things that are going on, and then you're like, okay, I can go do this thing. But right now it's see, do. But yeah, so you also, actually, no, that's not important. We can talk about that another time. But yeah, this is just very dangerous. I don't like it. And you leave, and you're finally like, oh yeah, there's a Widow in my team. Oh yeah, I should probably go kill that Widow. Oh, and then you think, oh okay, I can shoot the Mercy. So this is actually, I'm actually okay with how this goes. But So this is, I think if... I don't like your movement on Tracer when you're fighting people. I want to watch that again and talk about why. We're gonna go from like here.
Get in here.
Okay. Maybe this is not easy to explain because of the fact that you do it all the time. But did that feel kind of clunky to you?
Yeah, I guess it does.
You have a habit, and we're going to watch this again. I'm going to explain it as it goes. On Tracer, of you look, and then you blink. You look, and then you blink. You look, and then you blink. You don't just blink. You can blink in any direction. You don't need to be looking and holding W to blink. You can just hold S and then blink backwards while you're looking forwards. It feels like I'm watching somebody drive like a T-34 Sherman tank. But I should be watching Tracer. I should be watching some dude on rollerblades glide around the map with ease. But it feels like I'm watching somebody like pilot a mech suit. So this is like a thing that I feel like I want to like drill into you, because it will make things so much easier. But you should be able, like, you should essentially be able to, like, if I was to blindfold you and put you in front of any spawn on any map and tell you to go somewhere, you should be able to get there. You should be able to know the map just like imprinted into the creases of your brain. Because on Tracer, it's one of the most important things, just knowing where you can go. And right now, you're not confident enough to just blink somewhere blindly. Because you're like, oh, well, am I sure that staircase is right there? Oh, okay, all right. And then you go do it. But just going forward, I want you to, before you like blink somewhere like this, I want you to slow down. And I want you to think about where you're blinking, and don't look there. Just do it. If you want to be looking somewhere else, just blink to where you're going and keep looking at what you want to be looking at. And it might take you a second, right? You're gonna fuck it up a bunch. But once this becomes second nature of you just blink without looking, you're gonna feel so good. Everything's gonna feel amazing. You're gonna feel like an ice, like you're ice skating. But right now you're very like on tank controls. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. That's like that's one of the big Tracer things that I want to talk about. But you kill this person. Awesome. You start setting up for next fight. This is cool.
My ultimate is charging.
You hear their Ash. Okay. Oh yes, this is the thing about aiming. Like I said, this is front-loaded with a lot of information, then let's gonna speed up mad quick, trust me. But you do this thing. We're gonna watch this in slow motion. So the Ash comes up. You are not aiming at that Ash when you start shooting her. I'm gonna explain what's up with this. You are not aiming at this Ash when you start shooting her. So our brains do a crazy thing. Most people actually have way better aim than they think they do. The issue is, people are very good at like copying the movements, right? But they're not necessarily good at keeping on target. You start shooting at this Ash when you are not aiming at this Ash. And then you track her movements for where she was, not for where she is. Because you're kind of like, in your brain, you're like, yeah, I'm following her movements, but you're not following her movements on her. You're just following her movements somewhere else. Now that I mentioned this, you're going to notice it way more than you think you might, because everybody does this. But this is the most this is like a really important thing. It's super fucking forehead, but just bear with me. On your first bullet on Tracer, or really any hero, but specifically on Tracer, make sure that your crosshair is just on their chest, on their character model, and then shoot. I don't care if it takes you another half of a second to aim at the character, but I want you to make 100% certain that you are aiming at that person before you click. Because then you're going to be able to properly follow their movements. You're not following after them. You're not following them in a different place. You are following that person. You are going to be disgusted with how much more damage you do to somebody when you start shooting at them. Because right now you start shooting, and then you're like, oh shit, I gotta catch up. But if you were on the Ashe already, and then you clicked, you would have been perfect. You would have been perfectly fine. This Ashe should be dead. You should kill her, but I don't think you do. Actually, I think you kill her when she drops. Yeah, that's a thing. Like, she goes up and then she goes down, and you follow that, but you're too late because you started shooting off of her character model. Does that make sense, or am I crazy?
No, it makes a lot of sense. I think I think I probably just panicked a bit, and you don't feel like you've got the time to line up the crosshair properly. And I think the habit would be, if I did that, would be to stand still while I was doing that as well.
I agree. The habit is to stand still. And honestly, if you took half of a second to stand still and line up the shot here, and then that Ashe just domed you in the face, I would be so happy with that. Because you were learning.
Yeah, okay.
I don't care how many times that you eat shit and die, as long as you are getting something out of that. I don't care about failure. I care about lack of trying. Yeah, I think you end up killing this Ashe. Or, no, maybe not. But, yeah. This is kind of tragic to me. What happens here is tragic. You forgot your pulse bomb button, didn't you?
I've changed it recently, I actually did.
All right, cool. Moving on. It happens to the best of us. We're moving on. So, hey, you don't have recall. Realistically, this Ana and Mercy are going to heal each other. Leave, run, right now. You were here for so long. Oh my god, you should be dead. Yeah. Oh my god.
Especially when you see the nade.
The nade, the Kree ignores you, the Roadhog ignores you, the Ana ignores you. You should be so fucking dead right now, but you're not punished because this is a diamond game. But, you know, play for what you want, not for what you have. I think the rank you want, not the rank you have. That's something that Jane said. But yeah, right here, you're playing for the rank you have. You say, oh, I can just keep poking for a second. You gotta get the fuck out of there, man. That's so scary. Yeah, but I don't think you should have dropped here. You should have left back through high ground. Because there is no reason to just be here. But that's like a very... There's a lot of things where, like, I'm not mentioning or not talking about because... Me talking about, you know, you staging in pre-fight, that's going to fix a lot of problems that we're seeing symptoms of right now, you know? It's like, if I break my leg, I'm not going to be able to walk. So it's not like, hey, you need to walk. It's, hey, we need to fix your leg, and then you not being able to walk, that's not even an issue because your leg's fixed, you know? That was like a really weird analogy. I got a lot of weird analogies, man. You're just going to have to bear with it. You look, you did a 180, and then you looked, and then you blinked. You should have just, swoop. You shouldn't have even looked.
Yeah, fair. I mean, I do feel like my map knowledge is really not too great. Like I've maybe only got 40, 50 hours on Tracer, something like that, which is, I guess, is quite a lot. But yeah, my map knowledge doesn't feel good enough to just blink around without looking yet.
Yeah, that is super fair. And yeah, that's definitely something that comes with time, right? So I'm not saying, hey, next time we do a session together, you need to be perfect, or I'm gonna come to your house and hit you with a shovel. But
yeah,
I want to see you more often blinking. I guess blind is the way I like to put it. You would be alive right now if you just blinked to your left. But you looked, and then you blinked. You'd be alive right now. Cool. Yeah, you swap back to Soldier here. I'm not super against Soldier for this third point. What I am against is where you play as Soldier. 9 out of 10 scientists can't find what's wrong with this image.
I need to be going high ground.
You need to be going high ground. Because right now, you are chained. You are chained to the floor. You're not on Hanzo. You're not on Genji. You're not on Widow. You're not on Ashe. You are just, you got legs, man. Yeah. Roll out high ground, because if you stage better, a lot of these issues take care of themselves. And then you stay here for a while too, which is very scary to me. You missed that health pack. Oh, I have a question. What sensitivity are you playing at?
5.5, 800 DPI.
Really? Okay. Because it doesn't feel to me like you're very comfortable with it. Like, specifically on Soldier, I feel like you jitter around. Like, on Tracer, you seem a lot more comfortable with it. But on Soldier, I feel like you jitter around a lot. Like, there's no smooth movements. It's just, like, go, 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 go. I don't want to see da, da, da. I want to see this. I want to see smooth. Right now, it feels like you're jerking it, you know?
So lower sense, you think?
I don't think you need to change your sense. I think you need to be more active in your aiming process.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's like a really stupid thing to say. So I feel like I should explain that. A lot of people aim without thinking, right? You know how I was talking about, like, make sure your first bullet is on the person so that when you track, you're actually tracking?
Yeah.
The reason that, like, that's an issue for people is because you aim without thinking. You aim because you feel like you should just do what you're doing with your hand that makes you do the shoot. But aiming is a complicated active process. You watch somebody like Ans or like Saya Player back when he played, like, those people have good aim because they're thinking about it. And they see a target and they go, I need to move to that target. And they think about how far they need to move their hand across their mouse pad. And then they do it and then they shoot the guy. But that just happens very quickly and you don't see it. And you go, wow, nice shot. But, like, you have to be thinking about it. Also, okay, cool. But yeah, you do go high ground here, but it is the most first of all, you stand in this open for like a million years. You do go high ground, but it takes you a really long time to do it, and you do it in the most dangerous way possible. That door is still open, by the way. The door's still open. The Ashe is shooting at you. The Kree can see where you're at. And then you go up high ground from here. I feel like I don't need to explain why this is very bad and dangerous.
No, very sketchy. I honestly, I often forget that I can run up that yellow thing in the middle.
Yeah. It's that. Hell, you don't even have to do that. You could have gone like this way and gone up this way. You could have done like the jump up here. Like, there's so much you could have done. But here it just feels super dangerous. But you know why this is bad. We're going to talk about this stairwell. So remember that time I talked about having an escape?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to get out of here, and you do it later, it takes you like 3.5 seconds to cross this gap just because of like movement speed. You have no escape. And you decide, hey, here's a nice place to play. So this is just the best example of you need to be thinking about an escape route, because if you're not thinking about an escape route, you get boned. I want you always to be thinking about, like, okay, I'm gonna get shot from this direction. What do I do in order to not get, like, if I don't want to get shot from that direction, where do I have to be? And if the answer is like more than like 5 feet, not even, more than like 2 feet, you're in the wrong place. We'll see later how like both of their DPS peek you and are able to jiggle around corners really well when you're standing in the open. Yeah, so you go back up high ground in the most dangerous routing that you can possibly take. And you say, oh, I shouldn't be there. So you're here, and that's cool, and this is good. So you kill these 2 people. Cool. Good job. What the fuck is that Shrank, by the way? What is this guy doing? What's wrong with where you're at?
After the kills.
Well, and getting the kills too, yeah.
The Kree could have 2-tapped me.
It's not about the Kree. It's about what you can't see.
Okay.
Sure, yeah, you kill these 2 people, right? Because you're peeking from where you're at. You can be peeking that angle from here, right? You can still see that doorway and shoot those people.
Yeah.
But when you're all the way out here, there's people here who can kill you. There's people here who can kill you. They can come out of this top and kill you. You are peeking like 3 angles right now, and you only want to be peeking 1. This is a concept called angle isolation, where you only want to be looking at the places where you want to be doing things.
Mm-hmm.
This is very bad angle isolation, just because of the fact that you are like openly and brazenly walking into the sight line of where people can be shooting you from for there's no added gain to being here. Like, yeah. There's no reason. Does this make sense, or is this like?
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay. What, dude? Why does my crosshair keep? What the fuck, man? Oh no, dude. There we go. Yeah, you unnecessarily peek this because you feel like you got to shoot the guy.
Yeah, my excuse is I come from playing Quake a lot and like arena FPS, so I think my autopilot mode is just like literally playing Quake when there's not other people on the team.
Huh.
But, you know, no more than one other person on the team. So yeah, team games are just really, they're still really not intuitive for me.
Huh. Okay, that's actually really good to know. Cool. That helps me think about some stuff. We're gonna keep moving on because pretty much once we're done with this half, when we get into the second half, you're gonna be like, hey, we saw this, hey, we saw this, hey, we saw this. But just want to, you know, do this. So you crossed into the open again. Why is this bad?
I can get caught out or killed pretty quickly by the Ash.
Yeah, you're peeking like 2 angles right now. You really only want to be looking at 1. And also, anywhere that you want to go to hide, this is a distance.
Mm-hmm.
This is just having an escape route. This is a really weird fight. You should be so dead here. I watched this and I was like, this is one of those things where it's like, you didn't die here because this is like a low MMR game where people can't aim super well. But if you like want to be good, you will be punished for this. 100% of the time you will be punished for this. Because this is what was earlier where I was like, it takes you like 3.5 seconds to cross. It takes like 3.5 seconds to cross. Yeah, don't do this. Please don't do that. But like I said earlier, if you stage in a better area, this isn't even going to be an issue that comes up. So think about what angles you're peeking. Think about what escape routes you have. Position based off of that. And yeah, sorry, go.
I suppose it's just knowing when to. Obviously, I'm trying to create different angles to the rest of the team. So I suppose it's knowing when to do that and when it's too big a risk, and you should just sort of take the same angles as other members of the team.
Yeah, it is sometimes good to take different angles. But yeah, that's one of those judgment things where you have to say, okay, sometimes I have to do this, and then sometimes I have to stay with my team. And this is one of those scenarios on this map where it's like, any other angle you want to take, well, the cart is here at least, is not very good.
Yeah. Okay.
This is a fine visor. You could have gotten hungry to like chase down a lot of other kills, and you didn't, and that's really good, because this is like a one fight pretty much. But if you like sprinted over here to be like, oh, I'm gonna go kill this Mercy, or I'm gonna go kill this this Kree, and I'm gonna go kill this Ana, you probably would have died, and then there's still these two tanks here doing a lot of damage, and then you would have thrown that fight. So, good job not throwing.
Get over here and heal up.
So that's McCree. He has a flashbang. He also has a right click where he shoots all the bullets that he has, and it does a lot of damage.
Yeah, I had a BAP a second ago. I don't know where he went.
I don't care that you had a BAP. You shouldn't have been this close.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Cool.
Yeah.
Some things are very long learning moments, and some things are, hey, don't do that. Let's move on.
Sic transit gloria.
On Tracer, you actually do an okay job of playing out of Kree range, but you don't really think about it here. You know what you're doing wrong here.
Yeah. Low ground again.
You're too busy on low grounds. But this is something I've already brought up like 4 times, so there's no reason to harken it again. But you do go up to high ground eventually, and that's good. This is where I thought you were playing a sentry, like a TF2 sentry. There's just a lot of times that you like see, like there, that with that Ash shooting you, there's a lot of times where it feels like that tunnel vision thing of when you go to shoot at a target, you just try to shoot at that target and you don't worry about the other things that are trying to shoot at you. And you know, maybe it comes from that Quake thing of like, well, when you kill somebody, that's it. You go look for them again. You keep going on with that. Yeah, there's a lot of people in this game. There's a lot of moving parts. And this is a thing that I always talk about, like with support players. But I feel like it's something that everybody should think about at least a little bit of like, what's going to kill you and where's it going to kill you from? And then the answer in this scenario is it's their hit scan who are very, very far away, and then their Roadhog who can do Roadhog things. But right here, you're just thinking about killing this guy. You're not thinking about how the fuck am I going to die?
Yeah.
Do something.
Group up with me.
Yeah, and also maybe I'm trying to sort of damage what my team is damaging too much of the time.
Yeah, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. That's just like a personal judgment call.
I need healing. I've got you in my sights. Let them
10
out.
seconds remaining.
So did you come out of spawn wanting to visor here?
I can't remember, to be honest.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay. Well, this is, once again, we go back to staging. Well, this would be a really good place to visor from. Maybe like all the way back here, you know? But here it just feels like your brain goes on the one track of, I would like to use visor. Okay, where do I go to use visor? Well, I should be looking at the enemy team. Okay, I'm looking at the enemy team. Time to use visor.
Yeah, terrible visor.
Bad visor because you don't, like... Even if there were 6 people here in front of you, it probably wouldn't have mattered too much. Just because of, like, the Ana's there, and let's pretend the Mercy's there. Like, it just feels like this is like a nothing visor, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But if you go and you flank and you try to do something with that, if you like pinched with this visor, you know, you like sprint high ground and then you hit him from that like that doorway or something, then I feel like it could be so good. But right now it feels like you're just visoring because you feel like you should use your ult. Like you got kind of antsy, you know?
Yep.
Cool, you kill this ball. Well, actually that's debatable because this is a shitty situation. But the second your Zen shrinks, I want you to go high ground.
Okay.
This is that same thing of you stay on cart because you feel like you have to be on cart. And then you die because of it. But if you go do things on high ground and you go try to make an angle of aggression, like you and then they C9. This was like the weirdest thing to me. This like whatever.
Score.
But yeah, if you like this is one of those scenarios where you want to be making another angle. This is where you go to Tracer, and I think you have a monkey on your team. So we'll talk a little bit about how to play dive. Sorry, I have so much content to go through.
No, that's good.
Are you taking notes, by the way?
I'm not. I was just going to refer to the. You say you're making a video?
Oh,
or-
yeah, cool. I think it's gonna get like uploaded to YouTube or something. I don't know.
Oh, really? Okay.
But yeah, so there's yeah, this is that judgment call of when do you make a different angle and when do you stay with your team in order to like focus the same target. This is one of those times where should have just taken the different angle, right?
We are all responsible for the choices we've made.
Okay, so you have a Winston. Conceptually, how do you play around a dive team as a Tracer? I know the rest of your team is like more poke, but conceptually, how do you play around like a dive main tank at least?
So I want to set up into a position where I can follow up on Winston's dives and do some scouting as well beforehand.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. If you want to go one layer deeper, you want to be in a position where you can be the hammer to your Winston's anvil. You don't want to follow up, you want to go at the exact same time. But you have the right thought process. That's super nitpicky. But you'll see in a second that if you were able to push him with your monkey, you could have done a lot more stuff.
Five, four, three, two, one. Attackers incoming. Escort the payload.
Look, blink, look, blink. I'm gonna point it out because I feel like I don't know. I just feel like I should. Look, blink. Okay, cool. You're in a good position to stage, right? You can go anywhere from here. And then you choose to go nowhere. You just kind of stay there for a second, which is kind of weird to me.
Yeah, fair. I think I'm almost expecting my monkey to die because he's taking a fight with the hog.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I probably should have gone aggressive.
This isn't like even like I blame you. It's just like a weird situation. This feels weird. Let's just move on. It's just weird. And then your Winston goes in here. Cool. You follow up on your Winston.
Yeah.
Remember I was saying hammer to his anvil?
Mm-hmm.
Should have been at the same time. You could have killed two people here. And I think you get one of them. But so you know how I was talking about how you just need to sometimes spray bullets out and see what everybody's health is? How you can just like check their health by doing a tiny bit of damage?
Yeah. That's not something I thought of before. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now, yeah, this is something that you will be thinking about because it's good. But if you just sprayed into this crowd, you'd see, oh, this Ashe is half HP. This Ana's half HP. Okay, cool. I'm gonna hit those guys. But right here, you kill this Kree, and then I think you try to kill the Ashe and you fuck it up. But you could have just, like, your monkey's dead here, right? Like, your monkey just ints like an idiot, right? This guy's in front of 5 people. I don't think he has bubble. He's fucking dead. The only way that you can do anything with this is if you trade kills. But right now, you're like, oh, I want to go kill this Kree. And you do kill the Kree. But you should have killed somebody else.
I think I get Mercy right.
Maybe? We'll see. That's fine. It's that same thing of, you started shooting a little bit off of his body, but it wasn't so off that it fucked up your tracking for the whole thing. But, you know, you kill him. This is okay. That hurt me to watch. Sometimes it's like, oh, just aim better forehead, but this feels like this is the main example of, I feel like you're sometimes afraid to shoot. Let's watch this again. We're gonna watch it in slow motion. Cool, you reload. Why do you blink?
I don't know. I think I'm thinking about a blink melee. I always get so far and then, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't go to plan.
So even if you blink melee here, you'll have to recall, and this is a whole thing. It's like, I'm gonna tell you something right now, and this is like the hardest thing to break your brain out of. Your accuracy stat does not matter. Just doesn't.
Okay.
I don't care if you have like 56 weapon accuracy. I don't care if you have 35 weapon accuracy. The guy who's doing more damage is doing more damage. You feel very conservative right now. You're only shooting when you think you're gonna hit something. Just fucking shoot, dude. Just shoot. Like, just pump out damage. It feels like you're LARPing as aimbot Calvin trying to do stuff. But you should just be shooting. Like, you can always just be pumping out damage 100% of the time. And here you're just like, it feels like you're afraid to miss is what it feels like. You're afraid to miss your target.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the only reason I know this is because I am too. And I'm a pro player. Like, I haven't escaped this mindset 100% yet. But
yeah, I think that's exactly why I'm worse with the sort of single shot characters like Kree, Ash, because if I like whiff a couple of shots, I don't know, that it affects me.
Yeah, you're like,
I can't just keep going and
dude,
you know, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I missed the shots, man. Oh my god, I'm trash. I'm washed up. And then you miss the next
Yeah,
shots because
that's
you're
it.
thinking about it, and then you miss those shots
Yeah.
because you're sad, and it's like it's a cycle.
Yeah.
Just shoot. Just shoot. Who cares if you miss? Just shoot. I mean, make sure that your crosshair's on their body before you start shooting. But like, don't be so conservative. If you miss, you miss. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like you're just like very conservative.
And in those cases as well, where it's like, oh, I see a Mercy on 1 HP, it's just like, I don't know. That's when you get the nerves, right? Or at least I do. And
Yeah, you're like, oh,
it's
if I
difficult.
fuck this up, I'm so bad, and then you fuck it up because you were thinking about fucking it up.
That's it. Yeah, like it. Yeah, it could be a really simple shot, but yeah.
Some healing. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, this is like egregious to me. Why did you not take that health pack? I feel like you thought you took the health pack.
Oh, was I not? I thought it was on full health until I came out the door.
No, you are on fire.
Oh right. Oh shit.
Okay. This just comes down to map knowledge. You'll get more comfortable with this in time.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's why I pushed out that side so I could take the health pack if needed. But yeah, I guess I just whiffed it.
Hey, that's actually really good of you to recognize that, like, there's a hog in front of me, but I have a shield. You didn't push past the shield. Hey Daisy. Hey Daisy. I'm in the middle of a coaching session right now. I would really appreciate it if you stopped. Thank you. I love you. I didn't think that would work. But so yeah, this is good, like I guess patience, you know? You here? You good?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. But yeah, this is good patience. I like that. Zoo wee mama. That almost hurt me. But you got the Ash at the end of the day. I will say, this is like super nitpicky. You start this fight outside of your effective damage range. You start shooting from here, and you can do almost max damage, but not completely max damage, and she has no idea you're here, right? Why not just walk closer and then start shooting? Because you could have gotten the one clip easy, but here you almost die because you put risk to yourself unnecessarily.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, just you need to be thinking about the effective range of your hero. Because you could have very safely just one clipped her here, but you could be dead.
You got what's coming to you. Here you go. You need time out.
I have a question. Why do you blink into the face of a guy whole hogging while you have 21 health?
Because I'm not very accurate with my blinks. And to be, it's something I need to think about more when I'm blinking in, definitely.
Okay, moving on.
I'm on fire.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's probably at the front of the cart, right? I should know that
you
Ash is coming
you
right.
shouldn't even have been on cart, man.
Okay, right.
Who cares if you're on cart? That's not your job. At least right now, it's not your job. You got an Ash to fight. You got a Mercy to fight. Here, you just kind of say, "Miko cart." Then you die. Your team loses the fight because honestly, I think this is a lost fight anyways, right? Like you're already down like 2 people. But it's what you could have done, right? Like you could have picked up a health pack and then went and fought the Ash who was over here. You could have tried to kill somebody walking out of the door over here. You could have done a million things, but you decided to go to cart, and then you died. And then that was that. Because it just felt very what's the word I'm looking for? Just felt like you didn't really try to do much there. You just accepted that I should go cart, so you went to cart. You get carried this way. You look and you blink. Did you communicate that with your Doom, by the way?
No.
Cool. Well, all's well that ends well. Okay, so this is another one of those things where I paused it as I was watching it and went, "Oh!"
I should have taken that health back.
You didn't take the health back. This is the second time that not taking this health back has been very, very bad for you. This health pack is it hates you. This health pack just hates you. You know what you should have done here. I know what you should have done here. Let's move on. At least you have the knowledge to say, "Oh, let's get the fuck out of here." But then you kind of go back in without a recall, and you're just blinking around in the open. This is a symptom of having poor staging. If you just blinked out to high ground here, you'd be fine. You could have just chilled high ground, but you have to blink around in the open and zigzag so you don't get killed.
We need to keep the payload moving. Healing in hand. My ultimate is ready.
That's cute. If you were staging high ground, you already would have been in the fight by now. But yeah, you got kind of carried in this fight. Your team grabs. You pump damage into it. That was good. There's a lot of times where I bring something up and I want to mention something, and that's like, we already talked about that. You already know what's up. You started tracking this ball late. You started shooting off of his body, so the entire time you were shooting him, you were behind him.
Thanks.
The payload has reached
Okay.
the checkpoint.
Thanks.
Oh, hey, you know what? This is alright with me. What you do here. You go, okay, there's a Kree there. I'm okay with that, actually. I think you could have done it, like, more quickly. But that's, like, a super tiny thing. Also, this is the first time on the whole map that you blink without looking. Woo! Let's go! This sounds sarcastic, but I also have people over and I don't want to scream really loudly. You blink without looking. You try to bait out his flashbang so you can go fight him again. Cool. I like this. Fucking love this play. But what you do immediately after this hurts me. It's like you make a great play and then you immediately make a fucking idiot stupid play. You walk at him again very slowly. I wouldn't even walk around this corner. But you have 4 people coming up this stairwell. Right? And you say, you know what, guys? I'll take point. You use recall, and you still say, I want to go into the middle of the enemy team. This is just like, you didn't really think about what cooldowns you had before you did it, I don't think. And it,
Yeah, I think I was just committed on trying to use the pulse, and
yeah, you get antsy with your ult.
yeah, that's it. Maybe use blink when I didn't have to. But
Yeah.
then once I'd done that, I was just like, oh, I still really want that pulse.
Yeah, and then I also, like, the recall was safe. So, like, I'm not even against the recall. It's just, like, even in this situation, right? Like, you even wasting blink, even wasting pulse, or even wasting recall, air quotes wasting, I think it was fine. You still have 3 people walking up this way. 2 of them are your tanks. You don't have to be first. This is an unnecessary risk that turns what is a very winnable fight into a much more losable fight. And I think you die here. I don't even know how you killed that Mercy, but, like, cool. Okay. This is, I was talking about having an escape route.
Yeah,
If you had 2 blinks,
that's a viable route.
but you just
Yeah.
you just did this. And even so, this place sucks. Why the fuck are you here? You could have just gone this way and gone under, right? Way safer. You still get out.
Yeah, I think I see the cart, and I'm just like, oh, it's not moving.
Yeah.
I go and try and fix that, but yeah, stupid.
To me, it feels like you were expecting someone to miss a shot or not look at you.
Hmm.
This Kree saw you. This Ana saw you. This Ashe has been shooting the whole time. They know you're going to be there. Never count on somebody missing a shot or just forgetting that you exist.
Yeah.
Because this was you betting on them being bad. If you force somebody to miss a shot by doing something with your movement, that's cool. But if you just hope that somebody misses a shot because you don't want to die, that's always a bad decision. If you were in a place where you have to hope that you don't die because if you're in a place where you have to hope that you don't die, you've already made enough mistakes leading up to that point where you deserve to be dead.
Group up in my position.
Cool. You just kind of blink into the open here. This is the same thing. If you staged better, if you rolled out high ground, if you wanted to go through their top left or something, this would be way better. Like, this would not even have been an issue, right? But the fact that you're here is an issue because you didn't stage properly. Okay, I understand trying to chase this ball. If you kill this ball, what happens?
We can push cart. We're not going to be contested on cart as heavily.
Okay. Well, to me, you kill this ball. This Mercy comes and reses him. You have to recall out,
Okay.
right? Because there's already 2 people looking at you, so you got to leave.
Hmm.
You don't have recall. They don't have res. And then the fight just keeps going. Like, I'm not saying don't chase kills, right? But this doesn't do anything for you.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
And you're and the path to go kill this ball is so dangerous. Like, it's so open. You're like in LOS of the entire enemy team right now.
Yeah.
This is one kill that I think you really just shouldn't have chased. And then you stay. You stay.
Now, where were we?
And then you keep chasing him when you don't have any cooldowns.
Time's up.
Just leave. Just get out of here, man. Just get the fuck out of here. Just leave. Just go.
Much better.
This Ashe was next to you for like 3 seconds and you just didn't hear her. Turn your game volume up, idiot. You stupid guy. No, this is just like a you don't listen to audio cues very often, do you?
I do play music when I'm playing.
There it is. Also, like, I respect that though. Just make sure it's not loud enough to drown out your game. I listen to music when I play it a lot too. But yeah, you miss a lot of audio cues. Like, you would have known that Ashe was there, and then you could have probably done something. But because of the fact that you're doing whatever you're doing, it just does not end up well for you. You go back to Soldier, I think.
That would have been my target, but like disrupting them, right?
Mhm.
The Ashen Mercy. Yeah.
And since you still had recall before you even knew the Ashe was there, right? You would have been able to maybe try and kill the Mercy.
Mhm.
But your recall gets forced because you didn't have the situational awareness to know that the Ashe was there. You need to keep your head on. You need to keep, like, it's like driving, right? When you're driving, you're not just looking forward, holding your hands on the steering wheel. You check your rear view mirror, you check your side view mirrors. You look, like, and you check, right? You look to make sure that, like, okay, I'm not blocking anybody. There's nobody trying to merge into my lane. Like, you keep your head on a swivel.
Yep.
You don't really do that here because you're just kind of like, you just kind of look at what you're looking at, right? This is that same tunnel vision thing. You need to keep your head on a swivel, like, keep that situational awareness, like you're driving. So this is an example of very bad angle isolation. You walk out here, you don't even check. You don't even look, man. You just say, oh, I should probably go shoot something, shouldn't I? You just walk out. Do you know what I'm going to say?
I should be taking more care of that angle on the right.
Yeah, you should be dead.
Okay, yeah.
No, but you're 100% correct. Like, scout the angle, make sure you don't, like, do what you're doing. And then you do die here because, like...
Yeah, I stay out here way too long. This is a really bad fight to take.
Yeah, like, you here, and you here, you can shoot the exact same things, but if you're here, you need to move, like, a foot to not die. But if you're here, you gotta move, like, 5 feet to not die.
Yep.
5 is greater than 1. That's just quick maths. Yeah, the same issue of angle isolation, and having an escape route. And there's a lot more specifics about, like, how you move on Tracer and how you take duels on Soldier and everything, but, like, but, like, that's too much for, like, a first session.
Yeah, okay.
Cool. I like that you, like, poke out here to shoot this guy, but I feel like you Helix tanks too often. You can just cross map people with a Helix rocket and, like, 2 or 3 well placed shots. Because you can just you understand how that works. But you very often see, like, oh, my team is shooting this thing, I should shoot this thing. And, like, I respect that, right? Like, I'm not saying don't focus the same target as your team, but if you see something that's killable, like, And I think you get really close to killing this Kree, like, a few times. But you don't end up doing it. Also, now that you don't have heal pad, please stop peeking.
Good choice.
Yeah, there's an Ashe peeking you. She kind of has been the whole time. She just missed 3 shots because she's bad. But a better player would have killed you. See, like, this is that. See, if you had Helix up, like, because you didn't use it on the hog or whatever, she would be dead. Save Helix to kill squishies, burn tanks with your left click. You got punished for having bad angle isolation there. Also, wait, did your son just trank and spawn? This guy's smoking crack. Whole team noob. Go next. But yeah, like, actually, I want to go back. That's like the last big thing I want to like talk about. When you go take this fight, right? This Ashe has to move. I need to roll home angle isolation because this is important. This Ashe has to move like less than a foot to be safe. This Kree probably has roll up. You got to move like 3 feet to not be shot. You are in the middle of fucking nowhere right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They do a good job of playing around cover. And you just don't really think about it here, and then that ends up killing you, very obviously, as we see. But this is just an example of like, look at how they play around cover, right? Like, this guy doesn't have to really do anything if he doesn't want to die. But you're just like giving yourself so much unnecessary danger right now because, oh, you feel like you should push up a little bit, or you're getting kind of antsy because there's less than a minute left, so you feel like you should go do something. And that's like that's just like what's the word I'm looking for? That's like a very stressed mindset, I guess. Like, you're doing this because you're worried about what's going to happen, not because you're actually analyzing the situation and trying to properly see it through. Maybe that's like way of an overreach of like analyzing your psychology, but here we are.
No, that's accurate, I'd say.
Let's go. Thank you, freshman psych. All right, I'm funny. Fuck you.
So I probably.
No, you're good. No, you're great. You're great.
It would have been a good angle to take if I could like get over to the right into a position where the Ashe can't hit me though, right? Because I feel like with these comps, my best hope is to like back up our tanks so that I can overwhelm their tanks, and then we can like, as long as I don't get picked, that's our win condition, right? I assist in overwhelming their tanks, and then we just mop up the rest.
Do you know the concept of counter pressure? Okay. So if I'm playing a poke matchup like this, right? And I'm our Mercy, and my Roadhog gets to like half health, I should keep damage boosting my DPS. If I go heal our Roadhog, he's just going to keep taking damage. But if I go damage boost my DPS, they're going to be pumping out damage, and they're either going to trade, or they're going to force the enemy team to do something about the damage that I'm doing. And my Roadhog is no longer the main concern. When you just try to pump damage into the enemy tanks, you are keeping that fight in the tank line. But if you take an off angle, you poke their back line, you shoot at their Ana for like 2 seconds, you shoot at their Kree for like 3 bullets, they're going to look at you, and then your tank line is safe for that 5-second period of time. You can overwhelm their tanks by alleviating pressure from yours.
Okay, yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, counter pressure is a super important thing that like nobody really talks about, but it's like you need to recognize like your impact is not just like one level of thinking is I need their tanks to die, so I'm going to shoot their tanks. 2 levels of thinking is I need their tanks to die, so I'm going to shoot their supports.
Yep.
And then this last fight is just kind of a mess. You visor and the idea was fine, but the execution was poor. You walk out into the open again, kind of dangerously. You should be high ground.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, dude. Whatever. You're fine.
Yeah, I don't know that.
You saw her use Valk. You wanted to kill her. You already killed. Yeah, you already killed like 3 people. Fight's over. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I see here? I see a good habit that was put into a poor situation. This is not, oh, you're stupid, blah blah blah. It's this. You have a good habit, and it's usually good. And right here, it wasn't. It was punished. Like, that's whatever. But still, I think you should be on high ground.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, just like small word of advice: never stand still when you're playing against snipers. Just always be doing something. You know?
Yeah.
But you guys just kind of like slow lose this fight. That guy, you didn't have an escape plan here. If you were like here from the start, you could have just peeked and you would have been fine. But you don't, so you die. That's not a thing I really need to explain too much because I've already said it like 7 times. But yeah, you guys just kind of slowly end up losing this fight. Yeah. I do want to move to a wrap up, if that's cool.
Yeah, sure.
But so
Victory.
there's a few things that I want to I guess. Well, yeah. So I want to ask you, what are you taking out of here today? What lessons have I put to you that you think are something that you will remember? And this isn't like a test. This isn't like you should remember these things. It's what do you feel like you will remember, so I know in the future to look at it, to look at those things.
Yeah, I think it's opened my eyes to how often I'm careless in a game, and it's I'm definitely going to start trying to plan out my positioning a lot better, and linking without looking on Tracer as well.